Hello, welcome back. This is Naveen Moola, Assistant Professor of Physics. We are discussing electromagnetism, paper 5 for 5th semester BSc Physics students, and we are dealing Unit 2, Magnetostatics. We have completed 5 videos in which we saw magnetic field induction, how to calculate magnetic field induction, that is using Biot-Savart law as well as Ampere's law. And even we solved some problems based on those two laws. And in the present video, we are going to discuss force on a point charge in magnetic field. Because in the earlier videos, it is confirmed that with the topic of Eirsted experiments, it is confirmed that when there is a motion of the charge, there exists magnetic field surrounding to that. So if that charge is moved in some other magnetic field, definitely the magnetic field established by the motion of this charge will face a force. It may be attractive or repulsive, but it will definitely face a force when it is kept in a magnetic field. We need to calculate the force experienced by a point charge moving in magnetic field. We'll see how to calculate that. Then based on that, we'll see what is a cyclotron and what is the principle behind the functioning of a cyclotron. And then we'll see Lorentz force equation and properties of B, that is curl and divergence of B. We will see these topics in this video. Okay, let me start with this. Okay, force on a point charge in magnetic field. The expression is given by, as shown in the screen, F bar is equal to Q of V bar cross B bar. Here Q is the charge, V bar is the velocity of the charge because the charge is moving in magnetic field. In B is the magnetic field in which this charge is moving. Then the force experienced is Q times the cross product of V bar and B bar. We need to understand this force. That means the force experienced by a moving charge in magnetic field is perpendicular to both its velocity as well as magnetic field. This equation indicates V bar cross B bar means the direction of V bar cross B bar is perpendicular to both V bar and B bar. Okay, to understand this, we'll see a simulation. Using a simulation, we will try to understand this. Let us see that. Okay, this is a simulation to show the motion of a charged particle in a magnetic field. It is not giving the calculation of force, but it is a simulation to show the force on the charged particle. Let us see what happens if here it is mass is 6.2 into 10 to the power minus 25 kg, velocity is 7, it is the initial values, charge is 2 into 10 to the power minus 18 coulomb, magnetic field, let us say it is 6 Tesla. Using this we can change the values of any field. These dots indicating that magnetic field is perpendicular to this screen. The magnetic field is perpendicular to this screen. Let us see what happens. I am starting this simulation. What happens, you see. The dots shown in the picture is the motion of the charged particle. If we reduce the if we increase the field, what happens? We'll see. The radius is decreasing. The charged particle is moving in straight line outside the field. When it enters the field, it is following a circular path. It is following a circular path. Means this plane, this screen is perpendicular to magnetic field. We said the dots indicating magnetic field is perpendicular. That means the motion of the charged particle is perpendicular to magnetic field. It is clear. And also the motion of the charged particle is perpendicular to the velocity. You see, wherever on this curve, wherever you take a point and you draw a tangent, there it gives the velocity direction of the particle. It is the circular path. That means the motion of the body is always the resultant motion of the body is always perpendicular to the velocity at that instant. That means from this simulation, it is clear that the effect of motion of a charged particle in a magnetic field is perpendicular to both magnetic field as well as velocity. We will see some more things. What I am trying is, this here it is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 18 coulomb. Now I will take negative charge, minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 18 coulomb, and I will start the simulation. What happens, you see. That means it is changing its direction. If it is positive, it is moving in this circle, clockwise direction. And if it is negative, it is moving in this direction. We saw just now. So it also depends on the charge of the particle. Now we will see what happens if the velocity is reduced. Initially the velocity is 7.5. Now I am reducing it to 5.5. What happens? We will see. The simulation is showing if the velocity is reduced, the radius of the circular path in the magnetic field is reducing. And what happens if the mass is reduced? What happens if the, we'll see that also. What happens? Okay, right. Again, I am starting this simulation. If again it is reducing. If the velocity is reduced, the radius of the path is, circular path is reducing. If the mass is reduced, even then also the radius of the circular path is reduced. That means mass, velocity. We say if the momentum is reduced, whatever may be the physical quantity, mass or velocity, momentum affects by the change in both of them. So when momentum is reduced, the radius of the circular path is reducing. If the momentum is increased, the radius of the circular path is increasing. Like that, we can have a idea regarding the motion of a charged particle in the magnetic field using this simulation. Okay, remember all the things which we saw in this simulation. We will see one more simulation now. This is a 3D simulation to show the motion of a charge in magnetic field. Here we can change the velocities in any direction. That means along x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, in any direction, and we will see how the charge will move in the magnetic field. Let us try to understand this coordinate axis first. This is x-axis. The axis shown in green color is x-axis, and the axis shown in blue color is y-axis, and the axis shown in red color is z-axis. And the magnetic field is along this y-axis. That means along this axis magnetic field is there. Now we can change the velocity along x-axis or y-axis. Along these two axes, if we change the velocity, what happens? We'll see. Initially, I am keeping the velocity along z-axis as 0, and I am giving certain value for the velocity along x-axis. I am giving 2 meters per second, let us say. We'll see what happens. I am showing as the magnetic field is along y-axis and velocity is along x-axis, it is the charged particle is rotating in xz plane. XZ plane, that means the plane which is perpendicular to this y-axis. Now for the same particle, if I increase the velocity, what happens? You see, I'm increasing the velocity. If I increase the velocity, mass is increasing. If I decrease the mass, radius is decreasing. If I increase the mass, radius is increasing. If I increase the velocity, radius is again increasing. Okay, now I will give velocity along z-axis. That means magnetic field is along y-axis. Now I will give velocity component to the charged particle both along x-axis as well as z-axis. Then what happens? Then you see it. Let us see what happens. I am giving velocity along z-axis also. Now you see it is doing helical shape. That means due to the velocity along x-axis, it is doing circular oscillations, and due to velocity along z-axis, it is, that means if it is having velocity in both the directions, it will have a velocity components along the field direction as well as a velocity component perpendicular to the field direction. So due to the velocity component along the field direction, it moves in this direction, and due to the velocity component perpendicular to the field direction, it gives circular path. Combiningly, we get this helical shape. We get this helical shape. Try to understand this. We will using this, we can say, we can get a conclusion that the force on a magnetic field the force on a moving charge kept in magnetic field is dependent on velocity, magnetic field, as well as charge on the particle, and this force is perpendicular to the velocity as well as magnetic field. Using these relations, the expression for force is arrived. Okay, we will see a video. I would like to show a video regarding how this is happening, how the magnetic field is established perpendicular to the motion of the charge. We will see that. I am showing this video from YouTube. I'll give this YouTube video link in the description. You can follow there also. Here you see between this North Pole and the South Pole, there exists a magnetic field, a uniform magnetic field. Into that field, a charge is coming normally, that means perpendicularly, making an angle of 90 degrees. As we discussed earlier, it is performing circular rotation because at each point the force is perpendicular to velocity as well as magnetic field. So the force will not do any work because we know to do work, the force need to move any object along that force direction. This is not happening here because the angle between force and the motion of the charge is 90 degrees. So it will not do any work, but it changes the direction. That means the force gained by this charged particle in this magnetic field is converting its motion in the direction of circular path. That means it is giving centripetal force, required centripetal force to the charged particle. It will not do any work. Okay, this is how circular motion is going on in the uniform magnetic field. Okay, so we are saying it is Q of V cross B. Q of V cross B gives a correct value for the force on this charged particle. Okay, now we will see what happens if the charged particle enter this magnetic field other than angle of 90 degrees. We will see that. Okay, you see here the charged particle enter with certain angle, then that component, that velocity component is divided into two parts, one along the direction of the field, the other one is perpendicular to the direction of the field. Along the direction of the field, there it will not be affected its motion, so it continues its path. Perpendicular field gives circular motion, so this helical path is the helix is the shape of the charged particle moving in magnetic field. Okay, okay, we saw some simulations as well as a practical video, animated video regarding the motion of a charged particle in magnetic field. It is clearly indicating that if the charged particle is at rest in the magnetic field, there is no change in its path, and if it enters along the direction of the field, there is no change, and if it is entering perpendicular to path, it is experiencing more force, maximum force, and it is doing circular rotations, and at a at an angle other than 90 degrees, if it enters a magnetic field, it is giving helical path. This is shown in the simulations as well as practical experiences. Using all these analyses, the force equation for a point charge in magnetic field is given. It is given by F bar is equal to Q times V bar cross B bar. We'll see some cases. If V is equal to 0, that means velocity is 0, that is a rest charge. Definitely a force is 0. If it is a rest charge, there will not be any effect in the magnetic field. And if the charge moving along the direction of the field, that means the angle between V and B is 0 degrees. Then V B sine 0. Sine 0 is 0. So F again it becomes 0. That is why when the charge is moving along the direction of the magnetic field, it will not experience any type of force. And if it come right angle to the field, then sine 90 is maximum value, that is 1. So F maximum is equal to QVB sine 90 gives QVB. This force is converting in the form of centripetal force. That is why it is doing circular rotation. If we take the radius of this circular path as R, then centripetal force is given by mv square by R. This mv square by R is due to this QVB. That is why we equated these two. QVB is equal to mv square by R. V gets cancelled. We get QB is equal to mv by R. If we reorganize this, we get R is equal to mv by QB. That means a radius of the circular path is directly proportional to the mass and velocity of the charged particle, and inversely proportional to the charge of the particle as well as magnetic field. That is what we saw in our simulation also. If we increase mass, the radius is increasing. If we increase velocity, the radius is increasing. If we increase the charge, the radius is decreasing. If we increase the magnetic field strength, the radius is decreasing. Okay, and this is the radius. Now, if this is the radius, and we already saw if the charged particle is entered with an angle other than 90 degrees, it performs helical structure. Okay, we'll see that in this picture. You see, if the charged particle, this is the direction of the magnetic field. This is the direction of, let me take the spotlight to show you. Okay, this is the direction of magnetic field. And that means along x-axis, along x direction, magnetic field is there. And velocity is in xy plane. That means it is having both the components along x-axis as well as y-axis. Now, first let us consider the velocity component along y-axis. Velocity component along y-axis. That means v bar can be taken as v bar. Now, v bar can be written as Vx I bar, Vx I plus Vz Vy j. This velocity can be written as Vx I bar plus Vy j bar. Vx is the velocity component along x direction, that means along magnetic field. Vy is velocity along y direction, that is perpendicular to magnetic field. Due to this field, this velocity, perpendicular components, it performs circular rotation in yz plane. In yz plane, because due to perpendicular components, the charged particle moves perpendicular to both velocity as well as this magnetic field. So in yz plane, it has to do circular rotation. It is shown in this figure. In this figure, the magnetic field is perpendicular to the paper, this screen, and this is how it performs circular oscillation. But it is not Vy alone is the velocity of the charged particle. Vx is also the velocity of the particle. That means it has velocity along x direction also, that is along field direction also. So because of this, if along field direction, it will not affect the charge, but it simply moves along x direction. That means the combined effect of Vx and Vy is it moves along this axis x, and it performs circular motion. That means it is a helical path. Okay, the radius of this helical path is we just now we derived. The distance between two successive circles of a helical path is known as pitch. This pitch can be obtained by multiplying the velocity along this direction, that is Vx, if it is multiplied by the time taken to in between two successive circles of a helix is known as pitch. So to calculate the pitch, we need to calculate time. We'll see that now. Okay, here R is equal to mv by qv. I am using V is equal to R omega. We know the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. V is equal to R omega. Using that, we get R is equal, omega is equal to V by R. Omega is equal to V by R. If we do that, we get omega is equal to V by mv by qb. That means we get qb by m. qb by m is the angular frequency or angular velocity or angular frequency of this helical path. We know omega, then what is nu? Nu frequency. Nu RF. We are denoted by F. F is equal to omega by 2 pi. So F becomes QB by 2 pi m. QB by 2 pi m. If F is equal QB by 2 pi m, T is equal time period between two successive circles is 2 pi m by QB. We are doing all these things because we are going to see the one of the applications of this discussion, that is cyclotron. That is cyclotron. You see, cyclotron is a particle accelerator. In nuclear physics, we need to have fundamental particles moving with fundamental particles are some charged particles moving with very high velocity, very highly accelerated particles. We need to get those particles for the applications of nuclear physics in artificial radioactivity and in certain other applications. We use some particle accelerators based on this discussion, that is motion of a charged particle in magnetic field. As shown in the figure, there are two Ds. Powerful magnetic field is established between these two Ds. In these 2D shapes, powerful magnetic field is established. Okay. And once if the charged particle enters this field, it performs circular motion, and when it comes out of this D, in between these two Ds, we apply some electric field to increase its acceleration. At each rotation, we increase the acceleration of the charged particle in between these two layers. If we accelerate that, its velocity will be increased. If the velocity increases, what happens? Radius increases. We saw. So in the next step, it increases radius. Like that, after performing so many circular rotations in this, we get a highly energetic circular, highly energetic particle out of this particle accelerator. This type of, there are number of particle accelerators. One among them is cyclotron. In that, we use this concept of force on charged particle kept in magnetic field. There we get cyclotron frequency as F is equal to QB by 2 pi m. From that, time period is equal to T is equal to 2 pi m by QB. Okay, with this, we saw multiple dimensions of the force on a charged particle moving in magnetic field. Now we will see Lorentz force equation. Lorentz force equation is nothing but force acting on a charge kept in electromagnetic field. That means when electric field as well as magnetic field both are present at a space, into that space, if we send a charged particle, the combining force is given by this Lorentz force equation. We know force on a charged particle kept in electric field E bar is Q E bar, and just now we discussed the force on a moving charged particle is Q of V cross B. So the total force is given by Lorentz force equation, that is F bar is equal to Q E bar plus Q of V bar cross B bar. This is the force on a moving charge kept in electromagnetic field. Here we can say the force due to electric field does some work on the charged particle, Whereas the only difference between these two is the force on the charged particle kept in electric field does some work on it, or to do that we need to do some work. But the force moving in a magnetic field, upon that force magnetic field will not do any work, because the direction of the charged particle is perpendicular to the magnetic field. That is the difference between the electric field and magnetic field in terms of force. Okay, in this video we discussed about the force on a charged particle kept in magnetic field, and we saw different simulations as well as the different cases related to this force equation. In the next video, we will see using this equation, using this force relation, we need to develop some applications. We will do in those applications in our next video. Thank you.